مساء الخير. زي ما وعدناكم امبارح احنا هنتكلم وهيكون في استضافتنا الجيولوجي العالمي مارك كامبل الامريكي اللي بقاله اكثر من 25 سنه موجود في مصر هنا، بيعمل في مجال التعدين في عده شركات عالميه، واستطاع من خلالها انه يكتسب خبرات للمصريين من خلال خبراته الاجنبيه اللي خارج البلاد. واحنا عشان كده حبينا نقعد النهارده معاه ونتكلم معاه عن اهميه الاستثمار التعديني في مصر والتدريب ودور الجامعات ودور الحكومه في الصناعه، وهيكون معانا ان شاء الله في الاسئله اللي جايه. هلو مستر مارك.
Hello, good afternoon.
في البدايه احنا بنتكلم عن ما هي اهميه الاستكشاف الجيولوجي في مصر.
What is the importance of the geological exploration in Egypt?
Well, the importance of geological exploration overall is very vital to Egypt and the development of its mining industry. Egypt has really had no mining industry for 100 years, and this is understandable because oil took over and it became very focused on the oil and gas industry and less so on hard rock minerals. So you had Sukari, but that's been about up to now when the first gold bid round, the second gold bid round. But the importance is not just the companies coming here. The first stage is really determining what minerals we have here and understanding the geology of Egypt. The geology of Egypt is very complex, and this is because of where we sit on a tectonic plate. There have been many things that have happened over the years to develop the geology. So understanding that from really an academic perspective is very important because it's not all about gold. Okay, I know the gold is important, but gold is actually encapsulated in many ways in Egypt, and deposits we found in different types of geology here. So it's important to understand how the geology formed and how we see where the minerals are located. We also have other minerals, and this is important to remember. Egypt has copper, it has zinc, it has lead, molybdenum, and others. And if you look today at the battery mineral industry, so those things like nickel, lithium, the question becomes, do we have them? And we certainly may have nickel down in the ultramafics, which are down towards Bernice. But the question is, how much minerals do we have? Is there commercial quantities of it, or is it just trace? And is it possible to host these minerals? So you need to do the exploration for this. Second of all, you have the people talking about lithium. Now, do we have lithium here? I don't know. Nobody's looked for it. But it could be possible. It could be in shallow watered beds in the Red Sea. It could be around Fayoum, where we have an inland salt lake. These are things that need to be looked for. Cobalt is another one. So what needs to happen in the beginning is the Geological Survey of Egypt, which is the second oldest in the world, needs to go and do work on understanding from an academic perspective, understanding the geology of Egypt. And once they determine that we have these minerals or what have you, then they need to use that to promote companies to come to Egypt and invest in other minerals. We know we have gold. Obviously we have gold. Everybody here is chasing after gold. But we have a lot more minerals. And this requires, as I say, the Geological Survey of Egypt to undertake this work. And so this is vitally important to developing an overall mining industry, not just gold mining, but they could have silver miners, you could have copper miners, and that's very important to the economy in the future and attracting hard currency into the country, particularly dollars. So the geological exploration overall in the country is very important. I give you one example. potash. You know, people have been talking about potash. Do we have enough potash here to create a mine? I don't know. But potash really at the end of the day is all about transportation costs. So if you developed, you know, in Canada, it's mined in Saskatchewan, which is 1,000 miles from the coast. So it has to be shipped by rail. If you were able to develop a potash mine or 2 potash mines or whatever here in Egypt, you have ready access. Your transportation costs would be very low. You could either go to, you know, Alexandria, you could go to Suez or Spaga, wherever you want to go. So these things are very important, as is developing, you know, our phosphate business, because obviously we are blessed with phosphate in this country, and we can become a leader in the phosphate industry again. At one point, we were actually the leading supplier, or EFIC was the leading supplier of bagged and powdered, bagged powder or pelletized phosphate in the world. So I think we could get back to developing our phosphate industry, our fertilizer industry, which would be beneficial to the country. So yes, geological exploration is critical to the development of the industry.
دور الاستكشاف الجيولوجي حيوي جدا بالنسبة لمصر. 100 سنة لها معادن تانية كتير زي النحاس زي ما مستر مارك يعني وضح ان في معادن تانية موجودة. مهم جدا ان احنا نستكشف جيولوجيا مصر لان جيولوجيا مصر معقدة وخاصة ان احنا موجودين في مناطق بليت تكتونية صفائح تكتونية. فدور هيئة المساحة الجيولوجية ان هي تبدأ تعمل بعثات يعني تكتشف جيولوجيا مصر وتتعرف عليها كويس. دي اللي هتخلينا نبدأ يعني نجذب الشركات الأجنبية ان هي تبقى موجودة في مصر. في معادن تانية معادن البطاريات زي الليثيوم وكده، بس احنا محتاجين نعرف الكمية الاقتصادية بتاعتها، هل الكمية اقتصادية ان هي تجذب شركات ان هي تبقى متواجدة في مصر ولا لا، وده دور المساحة الجيولوجية ان هي تحدد الكميات المعادن دي. بس احنا عموما مش عندنا دهب بس، احنا عندنا معادن تانية كتير موجودة في مصر، وكمان الفوسفات مستر مارك وضح ان عندنا مناجم فوسفات واحنا ممكن تبقى في كمية أكبر من الفوسفات موجودة في مصر، بس لازم نستكشفها.
يعني معنى ذلك ان مصر لديها مثلا ثروات تعدينيه في كافه المعادن سواء الخامات التعدينيه او الذهب، وده بيتطلب مننا جهد كبير جدا في تدريب وتاهيل الكوادر الموجوده في مصر. فنساله يعني ايه، يعني ممكن يعني ايه اهميه التدريب والتعليم في علوم الارض في مصر، غير يعني خاصه في مجال التعليم.
What is the importance of the training and education, especially in the mining industry?
Well, yes, I mean, this is where the start of this. As I say, in the past, there has not been much exploration. And so there has been no real way for maybe 50 years for young exploration geologists to learn their business. And it's crucial that we help do that because they are the future of the mining industry. So not just geologists or geophysicists, but also engineers. And it's also important us to train people who will help in dealing in the ancillary businesses like drilling, lab technicians, geotechs. These are important jobs, not just for the industry, but also for Upper Egypt because it creates jobs in that area.
الفترة اللي فاتت ما كانش طبعا في اهتمام بالتعدين، فكان الجيولوجيين اللي بيتخرجوا ما بيتدربوش كويس في مجال التعدين. دور الشركات دلوقتي اللي موجودة في مصر ان هي تدرب الخريجين كجيولوجيين او جيوفيزيائيين او مهندسين، لان في وظائف كتيرة في التعدين محتاجينها، بس تكون يعني المتخرجين لازم يتدربوا الاول ويبقوا عارفين حتى في مجال الحفر كمان، وفي التكنيشنز الفنيين لان طبعا بتحتاج التعدين بيحتاج مهاره، فبيبقى محتاجين ان هم يتدربوا، وده دور الشركات دلوقتي ان هي تعمل الدور.
يعني سوق التعدين في مصر يحتاج لعماله او وظائف يعني بعدد كبير جدا، يعني قصده يعني صح؟
طبعا I think that the mining industry will have يعني need a big number of geologists.
Yes, I mean yes, I think we will need this as we move forward in the future. But you know, one of the important things is actually getting foreign companies here to work. So there are more job opportunities within the sector. And that requires that we move much faster of, attracting companies, giving them concessions, letting them go to work. As we've heard that, I guess that the Shalatine bid round has been postponed a bit, which will then push back the Emerald bid round. That just delays, development of this. And at the same time, the government, the Geological Survey, needs to train young geologists to do field work, so that we can understand the geology of Egypt better in an academic sense.
طبعا وجود شركات أجنبية كتيرة ده هيخلق فرص في العمل أكتر، وكمان الشركات كل ما يعني مراحل الاستكشاف متعددة، وكل ما بيبقى فيه شغل متقدم بتحتاج أكتر خبرة أكتر. كمان بسبب إن مزايدة الشلاتين اتأخرت شوية، فده يعني بنحاول إن إحنا نجذب شركات أجنبية بس.
هل يعني في دور مع الحكومة والصناعة تقدر تساعد فيه مع الشركات الأجنبية؟ يعني الدور الحكومي إيه؟
What is the role of the government with the companies to attract more investors?
Well, the role of the government is important, but it's important from a sort of an encouragement, I would say, not just. It doesn't really need the government to do directly training or educating people. That's not the role, and it's not really needed.
دور الحكومة إن هي بتشجع، مش دورها إن هي تقدم تدريب أو كده، لا هي دور الحكومة التشجيع.
تشجيع الشباب والشركات، ولا يعني تشجيع الشركات؟
Encouragement the companies.
Yes, encouragement. Really, the way the government can play a role is to really attract faster more companies to Egypt, because geoscience, but geology in particular, is a practical science. It's not like chemistry or physics or biology. You learn in the university how Earth systems work, and you learn at a sort of academic view of what geology is. But you don't really learn how to be an exploration geologist until you go to work, because it comes in the field. So it's how much geology you see, different types, learning to sample, learning to map, learning to log core at some point. These are skills that have to be taught and learned, and it takes years, actually, to create a really solid geologist, exploration geologist. And this is the role of the companies, not the role of government. And so the companies are the ones who need to train these people. And I can say that, in all honesty, that the industry here now is doing a very good job of this. Most everybody has hired young geoscience graduates to come and work for them. And they're taking these young people and they're training them how to be good geologists. And this is excellent. And so this needs to continue. I think it would need to continue, because it's important both to the industry and to the government, who want to see people trained and learn skills and what have you. And then there's the other, which is those trades like drilling and others. We understand that Sentiment is probably planning to build a training center in Mars Allen, and they will train people to give them the skills to obtain jobs.
هو دلوقتي بنتكلم عن دور الحكومة، ان دورها دلوقتي ان هي تجذب الشركات الأجنبية بصورة أسرع، لأن ده هيخلي الشركات الأجنبية تبدأ ان هي تاخد الجيولوجيين وتدربهم وكده، لأن علوم الأرض وخاصة مجال الجيولوجيا مجال يعني عملي أكتر من هو نظري. أوكي أنت بتدرس في الجامعات الجزء النظري، بس مش سهل ان انت تبقى جيولوجي مستكشف في الحقل، لأن ده بيحتاج خبرة ومحتاج ان انت تنزل الموقع وتبدا تشوف الجيولوجيا المختلفه اللي موجوده في مصر. فدورها ان هي تجذب الشركات الاجنبيه بصوره اسرع. احنا عارفين دلوقتي ان سنتامين بالنسبه للوظائف المهنيه او الفنيه والحفارين. احنا عارفين ان سنتامين الفتره اللي جايه هتبدا تبني زي تريننج سنتر في مرسى علم، وهتبدا تدرب الشباب اللي هناك ان هم يبقوا عندهم المهاره التقنيه الكافيه ان هم يشتغلوا في مجال التعدين.
وهل يمكن للجامعات المصريه ان تساعد في عمليه التدريب والتاهيل، وان احنا نستقطب مثلا شباب او خريجين اللي هم متدربين ومؤهلين كوادر جيولوجيه تقدر يعني دور الجامعات في عمليه الاستكشاف في مصر؟
Do you think that the Egyptian university have a role in the training?
Yes, Egypt is very blessed with a lot of universities that offer geoscience. So you can go to Cairo, you can go to Alexandria, Suez, Ain Shams, Banhan. You know, they all have good, Sohag, they all have good university programs. And so the people will attend these schools, which is where you start learning geology, and they will come out with a basic knowledge, just like anywhere in the world, with a basic knowledge of the Earth systems and geology. So this is really important to remember that the schools, but they can always use support. Now we support ASU University, and we supported them for a long time. They have a very good geoscience program. They have a very good at studying. They do oil and gas, but they really focus on hard rock geology. And we've gotten good young geologists out of their program. And that's, and we feel that's necessary. These universities also have another role they can play. You know, most of them for education have geoscience or petrology labs. ASU particularly has two good ones. And those can be very useful to a company, because instead of sending out your samples of geochemistry or for thin sections for petrology, you can get them done here in Egypt, which is good not only for the company, but it's also very good for the university because it helps the learning process. Taking people as interns, while they're in school, learning other things, forming groups, like the Society of Economic Geologists chapter, student chapter, and things like this is also very good for their education. And the companies can help by sending people to talk, and so give them lectures as well. And then the process of finding them jobs. And the industry, as I said, we've done a very good job of this, I think. And it's not just boys, but we've hired a lot of female geologists as well, because it's something that either one can do. So I think we've done a good job on that. But the role of the universities is crucial. And I think that companies should pick I don't care what university you pick, but should pick a university to support and, help them in developing their geoscience program.
احنا يعني الشركات المفروض دورها دلوقتي ان هي كل شركه تدعم الجامعه وتحاول ان هي تطور من البرامج اللي موجوده عندها. احنا عندنا جامعات كتير قوي زي جامعه عين شمس والقاهره وبنها واسيوط، جامعات كتير قوي عندها المحتوى التعليمي جيد جدا كمناهج الجيولوجيا، وعندها معامل كويسه جدا. ممكن المعامل ديت تبدا الشركات تعمل فيها تحليل للعينات عندهم، بدل ما احنا نسفر العينات بتاعتنا بره للتحليل ممكن ان احنا نستفيد من المعامل ديت. دور الجامعات حاول جدا ان هي بتسبورت الطلبه بتاعتها في مجال التدريب الصيفي ومجال التعليم. ممكن تستضيف زي محاضرات لكبار الجيولوجيين الموجودين في مصر ان هم يلقوا محاضرات والطلبه تستفيد من الخبرات اللي موجوده للجيولوجيين الموجودين في الشركات ديت وهم لسه طلبيه.
حاجه اخيره، يعني ايه اهم المعوقات اللي ممكن تعوق عمليه الاستثمار التعديني في مصر؟
The final thing, what are the impedances that can affect the mining industry, or the things that can affect negatively on the mining industry here in Egypt?
The negative things that happen to the mining industry here are the same as they happen anywhere in the world. Egypt is just a place, but every place that has it. Obviously, price. But things like prices moving. the gold price. When the gold price goes down, people are less interested in exploring for it. If the gold price goes up, people are more interested in exploring for it. So it's the same thing. That's why I say is that it's important to the Egyptian mining industry to diversify the number of minerals. Have nickel miners exploration companies, have copper exploration companies, because that diversifies. If you're dependent on one mineral, then you're a slave to that share price, that commodity price.
هو بيقول لحضرتك ان المعوقات اللي موجوده هنا زي الموجوده في اي دوله تانية، فرق الاسعار، سعر الذهب، كل دي معوقات بتاثر على مصر زي ما بتاثر على اي دول تانية. اهم حاجه ان يكون عندنا تنوع في الخامات، ما نبقاش معتمدين على معدن واحد زي الذهب عشان ما نبقاش يعني محطوطين في نطاق ان احنا نستهلك المعدن ده. لا، يبقى عندنا تنوع كتير في المعادن، خاصه ان احنا عندنا المعادن ديت، يبقى عندنا تنوع في استخراج المعادن المختلفه بحيث ان ده هيقلل التاثير شويه.
It's also things like regulations. The more bureaucratic you make something, the more difficult it is to do business. The more you're less likely to get companies to come and invest their money here. And things, the economic issues that go along with it. Those are something that obviously Egyptian government has no control over, but it's something we all suffer from. And if you look at now, the import ban is a problem, because if you're a drilling contractor or you're operating a mine or what have you, you need to be able to get spare parts and equipment into the country. And if you can't get them into the country, you've got a problem. And I would also say that things like the dollar play an important part. It's something that we all feel. That the dollar's decline, or the Egyptian pound's decline against the dollar, obviously affects many things there, and all these factors affect the industry and companies and investment. So it's not, as I say, it's not Egypt per se. It's the whole world. I mean, we all suffer in one way or another from these issues, and those obviously have a knock-on effect with exploration and mining.
تزايد اللوائح والقوانين الصارمة اللي بتأثر على تطور التعدين هنا في مصر، زي ما احنا شايفين مشكلة الاستيراد مثلا، ده طبعا هتأثر على مثلا شركة حفر لو جايبة حفار أو كده، بتأثر على صناعة التعدين في مصر. الدولار سعره مختلف يعني، فده برضه بيأثر. الحاجات زي ما بتأثر هنا بتأثر في أي دولة تانية.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
Thank you, Said. Nice to be with you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.